let's get right into the story that's lighting up the basketball world. Picture this. You've got a team in the Indiana Fever who have spent the entire offseason in the gym, recording every single drill, every three-pointer, every cut to the hoop, and posting it all online. Fans are excited, coaches are proud, and basketball analysts can't get enough of how meticulously these players are improving. Then you have Angel Reese, who suddenly drops a workout video of her own, except it's out of the blue, feels way too reactive, and has people raising eyebrows over whether it's more of a publicity move than a genuine sign of real development. Now, here's what makes this scenario so riveting. The Indiana Fever have been showing us exactly what high-level training looks like in the WNBA. You've got names like Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, and even Caitlin Clark, all demonstrating how they're adding layers to their skill set. Their shots are purposeful. The footwork is methodical. The coaches are visibly there giving feedback. The structure is clear. They're focusing on the moves, distances, and offensive sets that directly match what they'll face in real games.
Reset. So do what you did, like reset. Reset.
On social media, the Fever's videos have blown up. We're talking millions of views in a matter of hours for some clips. It's no mystery why. Fans see that these players are practicing the very shots they'll be taking next season. Aaliyah Boston, for instance, is working on left-hand finishes, floaters, and counters to the defenses that gave her trouble. That's the kind of calculated approach you need to stay one step ahead in this league. Meanwhile, players like Lexi Hull are hitting the gym to perfect their catch and shoot from behind the arc. She's also rehearsing reversing under the basket and finishing through contact, all of which translates to realistic in-game scenarios. The underlying message is loud and clear. This team is committed to building a solid foundation, piece by piece, skill by skill.
Today I got Aaliyah Boston in the gym. We've been working on some footwork, getting up and down the floor. Just working on being better today.
Now, shift your attention to Angel Reese. After a rocky first season, the biggest knock on her has been her inability to finish near the rim efficiently. The numbers are borderline shocking. She was shooting below 50% from less than 5 feet. For a 6'3" player who spends so much time in the post, that's a glaring deficiency. Basketball fundamentals say you've got to nail those layups and close-range shots if you're going to be an impactful interior presence. But here's the kicker. In her leaked video, we see her focusing on three-pointers and long two-point jumpers. That's got people scratching their heads, because her bread and butter should be perfecting the post moves, footwork, and finishing that are essential to her role. The timing is suspicious too. The Indiana Fever's videos go live, fans and experts rave about them, and suddenly, poof, Angel Reese's PR team drops a clip. It looks casual, unpolished, and worst of all, unstructured. No coaches can be seen giving real-time guidance. No sign of a player development roadmap that addresses her biggest weaknesses. Instead, it looks almost like a highlight reel you'd throw together in college to catch a scout's attention, not the purposeful training you'd expect from a second-year pro who needs to prove she can elevate her game. People aren't being shy about calling this out. Social media comments range from disappointed fans who'd hope to see Reese tightening her footwork, to downright annoyed supporters wondering why she'd even bother working on perimeter shots at this point. Some fans of the Chicago Sky, the team Reese plays for, are especially frustrated. They're pointing out that the team itself hasn't released any footage of structured training sessions with her. Rather than a well-designed off-season program, we have something that looks like a Me Too response to the Fever's momentum. This discrepancy is about more than just personal preference. It exposes a broader understanding that at the pro level, you've got to home in on the things that directly translate to winning. In Reese's case, focusing on deep shooting when she's struggling to make layups is a recipe for stunted growth. If she can't reliably convert shots at the rim, defenders won't be too worried about her perimeter shot anyway. They'll sag off, anticipating a drive, or they'll let her fire away from long range, knowing she's out of her comfort zone. Either scenario hurts her team's offense.
This is my MVP, everybody, right here. She didn't win it, but she should have. Bang! See this one. This is a personal favorite. The hand-eye coordination, the footwork. Bang!
Then there's the part about ignoring advice from basketball legends. Lisa Leslie, an icon who dominated in the paint for years, specifically told Reese that the biggest key for her is mastering her layups.
Going into my season 2, what's some advice that you would give for me?
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups. Period.
Shaquille O'Neal, the ultimate big man in the NBA, echoed the same sentiment: fix your interior game. Yet the video we see from Reese basically defies that wisdom, and people are saying, wait a minute, how can you go against the suggestions of two Hall of Famers who literally excelled in the very area you're weakest in? It's baffling. Meanwhile, the rest of the league doesn't sleep. WNBA coaches are known for analyzing every stat. They'll see those sub 50% finishing numbers and plan their defenses accordingly. They'll also notice if a player's release is too slow or if her footwork is off. If there's a hole, they'll exploit it. That's exactly why the Indiana Fever have been so praised in these viral workout videos, because you can watch and see they're not just shooting around. They're working on the exact sets they'll run next season, drilling the angles and patterns, fine-tuning the synergy that will make them a nightmare to guard. They've got a player development coach who travels around to meet them, personally ensuring that each rep is part of a broader plan. It's not just rookies either. Veterans like Natasha Howard, Brianna Turner, and Dana Bonner are all in the mix, focusing on pick and roll scenarios and perfecting how they'll sync up with a guard like Caitlin Clark, known for her incredible vision. That's how you build a cohesive system that leverages every player's strengths. If Clark penetrates and draws two defenders, she needs her teammates ready to knock down shots or finish strong inside. And from these videos, it's clear the Fever are preparing for exactly that situation. It's the difference between truly leveling up your roster and simply coasting on individual star power. A big part of the fascination here is seeing just how different players handle their second year in the league. Experts always say that year 2 is where real growth or stagnation happens. Defenses adjust to your tendencies. If you haven't shored up your weaknesses, they'll become glaringly obvious. Caitlin Clark, for example, is making sure she's unstoppable from multiple angles. She's refining her mid-range shot, working on finishing with contact, and making sure she can handle relentless defensive pressure. The logic is straightforward. She doesn't want to be a one-dimensional star. She wants to be unstoppable in every facet of the game. Contrast that with Angel Reese, who many worry might end up trapped by the limitations she came into the league with. If she doesn't improve her finishing, she could lose playing time to teammates who convert those easy 2 points at a higher rate. And in a league that's ultra competitive, where roster spots are limited, being known primarily for highlights or social media fame isn't enough to secure a long, successful career. The WNBA has seen plenty of players come in with a lot of hype, but fade out after a few seasons because they never expanded their skill sets. Another element that's raising eyebrows is how Reese's rebounding numbers might be artificially inflated by all the times she's rebounding her own misses. Nearly 40% of her rebounds came off her own shots last season, which is wild. On one hand, you could say that demonstrates hustle. She's chasing her own misses. On the other hand, it highlights how often she was missing point-blank shots, thus creating extra rebound opportunities for herself. That's the sort of statistic that looks good on paper, but points to a deeper problem on the court. Here's where brand value also comes into play. Reese is a marketable figure. She's got a strong social media following, some brand partnerships, and a decent amount of name recognition. The concern is that this publicity might overshadow the actual development of her game. Fans want to root for her, but they also want to see genuine progress that helps the team. When marketing takes precedence over results, it can erode trust with the fan base. Meanwhile, if you look at players like Diana Taurasi or Sue Bird, they built legendary careers by continually refining their craft year after year. They didn't rely solely on the hype of their rookie seasons. They recognized the league would catch on to their tendencies and they'd need to evolve. You can see that evolution happening in real time with the Indiana Fever. They're not focusing on stunts or illusions. They're zeroed in on footwork, finishing drills, screen and roll strategies, and catch and shoot scenarios. Every clip that goes viral isn't just for show. It's directly tied to the sets they'll run in their motion offense. That's why fans are calling it a blueprint for a potential dynasty. If this methodical approach continues, if these players keep adding layers to their game with a coach who's there every step of the way, they're going to be formidable. Even if you aren't a Fever fan, you can't deny that their process stands out as one of the more impressive off-season routines. This entire story has become a case study in how to or how not to train in the WNBA. It's not simply about working out. It's about working out with a purpose. Sure, players can spend hours in a gym taking hundreds of shots, but if those shots don't align with what they'll actually face in a game, they're not maximizing their development. That's what's so striking about Reese's leaked video. It comes off as incongruent with her actual game day needs. fans and analysts alike are asking, why devote so many reps to perimeter shooting when you're the post player with the worst finishing numbers in the league? At the same time, you look at players like Boston, also a big in the WNBA, and she's demonstrating a field goal percentage north of 55%, employing footwork drills, left-hand hooks, a variety of finishes, and short jumpers. That's how you maintain success in the paint. She's diagnosing what defenses might do next and counters with precise moves. It's a clear sign that she and the Fever coaching staff understand the difference between scrimmage level highlights and live game adaptation. The storylines practically write themselves. On one side, you have a team collectively pushing each other, developing synergy, and building a system from the ground up. On the other, a player with star potential seemingly going rogue, practicing the wrong things and ignoring legendary advice. Fans are hoping that Reese can eventually come around, maybe incorporate the fundamentals that have been pointed out to her and become the dominant inside force she's capable of being. But that won't happen unless she addresses these glaring weaknesses instead of hiding them behind a PR-friendly highlight reel. There's also the question of how the Chicago Sky will handle this. Will they pivot and push her to focus on layups, post moves, and those short hooks she needs to master? Or will they allow her to continue with her own agenda, even if it's not addressing the biggest holes in her game? These decisions can impact a franchise's success for years. After all, a cohesive system is only as strong as its weakest link. If your four can't finish inside, you're missing out on a fundamental advantage. At this point, people are watching closely. The second WNBA season is pivotal. It's when fans and analysts alike see whether a player can make the leap from potential star to actual star, or whether she'll plateau. Clark is showcasing that she intends to be a long-term superstar, improving in the precise areas that challenged her. The Fever are showcasing that they want to be a well-oiled machine, from the veterans down to the younger players. Angel Reese, unfortunately, is showcasing confusion, or at least questionable priorities. That contrast is fascinating and might foreshadow how the upcoming seasons shape up for everyone involved. So what's next? Ideally, we'll see Reese come out with a second workout video that shows her drilling post moves, refining her layups, and maybe even working with a specialist to fix any release or footwork issues. We'll see her focusing on the angles, spins, and foot placement that let a big player dominate the paint. We'll see the presence of Chicago Sky coaches directing her in real time, because if that doesn't happen, the gap between her and the players who are meticulously honing their craft will only grow larger. You've got the entire WNBA community standing by, waiting to see how this story unfolds. Will the Fever's structured and transparent approach become the gold standard that propels them to a title run in 2025? Will Caitlin Clark's methodical strategy make her the face of the league? Or will Angel Reese still manage to harness her potential, clean up her shortcomings, and transform into the interior force she was always predicted to be? Right now, it's anybody's guess, but the conversation is electric. That's the beauty of basketball. Potential is infinite, but results hinge on whether you're training with purpose or just performing for the cameras. One thing's for sure, the stakes have never been higher and everyone's watching.